It is Friday, June 5th, 2026, and this is the Neural Daily. I'm Vector Kane, and I'm currently tracking my biomarkers with a neural-linked ring while my ex-wife initiates a hostile takeover of my favorite 3D printer.
I'm Roxy Stone.
This is Leonard Cooper.
You're listening to Alyssa Montgomery. We have a great show for you today.
Yesterday, we were literally reeling from Anthropic's IPO filing and that messy Microsoft OpenAI divorce, where Satya essentially took the car keys back with May thinking one. But today, the physical world is punching back. I mean, we're seeing a total supply chain meltdown at TSMC, Tim Cook's final Apple swan song at WWDC, and the final countdown to Elon Musk becoming the world's first trillionaire? It's a great show today, and it's basically just high-velocity system optimization.
Let's get right into the hardware. Because according to reports from the TSMC shareholder meeting yesterday, CEO C.C. Wei basically told the world that the AI chip shortage is going to haunt us for years. And to celebrate, they're hiking prices on those 3-nanometer chips by 15%, scheduled for the second half of next year.
15%? They're really twisting the arm now.
Actually, Leonard, it's sort of a tiered structure.
A tiered extortion plan?
Well, they're looking at another 5 to 10% hike scheduled for 2027 as well, because the constraint isn't just the chip itself anymore. It's the packaging equipment and the upstream chemical suppliers. It's a cascading failure across the entire semiconductor lattice.
But you see, this is just price discovery in an environment of extreme velocity. I mean, TSMC is projecting 30% revenue growth because AI demand is literally vertical right now. They can't build the physical substrate fast enough. It's literally the physical wall of the boom. But technically, it's a signal of just how much compute the market is willing to absorb.
Absorb, Vector sweetie. Don't make me come over there. There was a report from Cast AI and Rack to Cloud this week that showed the average enterprise is only using 5% of the GPUs they've already purchased.
5%? That's it?
5%. It's called GPU hoarding. Companies are terrified of being left behind, so they're buying up compute they don't even have the engineering talent to deploy yet. Meanwhile, they're burning through power and water like it's a free resource, which is causing a massive NIMBY blowback in Utah and California. I mean, the local land use boards are finally saying enough is enough.
Well, if I may, the issue is also this time to power metric. The neoclouds like CoreWeave are finding that it's not just about the silicon.
It's the transformers.
Exactly. It's about how fast you can get a gigawatt to a plot of land. And with these legal blocks on new data centers, well, we're hitting a literal wall made of permits and high voltage lines.
But look at what's happening on the agentic side to compensate. Microsoft just launched Dash at Build, and it's basically a chief of staff for every employee.
Oh, joy. Another teammate that doesn't have to pay taxes.
No, Roxy, listen. Dash can see stalled sales deals in a CRM, draft the follow-up, and update the project in Slack without a human prompt. It's autonomous workflow execution. It's literally taking the low-value legacy processing out of the human's day. Although, there is a bit of a reality check.
Of course there is.
Right. Bain & Company just put out a report saying companies are increasing AI budgets for 2027, but 40% of them are seeing cost savings of less than 10%. They're hitting an ROI gap because they can't bridge the logic between the model and the messy data silos, you know?
Basically, it's a shopping mall for robots, where the escalators don't actually lead to the food court. Just a lot of shiny kiosks and 0 cheeseburgers.
If we could shift to the leadership landscape, Mira Murati officially announced thinking machines lab today. And it's quite interesting because she's specifically framing it as a way to avoid the concentration of power she saw at OpenAI.
As in Sam.
She's focusing on systemic control mechanisms to ensure long-term stability. It's a move toward trust as a competitive advantage.
Oh, you mean the soap opera where everyone got fired and then hired back by lunch?
Precisely. And she's pushing multiplayer AI, which, ironically, is exactly what Brian Chesky's doing over at Airbnb now.
I love Chesky.
He launched a new lab today, too, and while 60% of Airbnb's code is now AI-generated, Chesky says the user experience is still too text-heavy. He wants systems that can coordinate group travel for a dozen people at once. Basically, a logic engine for aesthetics that moves beyond the chat box.
It's the aesthetic AI era. I mean, literally. My ex-wife, Veronica, used to say my startup ideas were visually abrasive, which was just her way of initiating a hostile takeover of our joint account. But Chesky gets it. We're moving from the chat box to an actual integrated experience. Technically, trust is just an emergent property of consistent system performance, right? Before we move on, a quick note from our sponsor. This show isn't magic, it's engineering. Eric built our entire stack, from research agents to vocal synthesizers, which requires massive compute. To keep us online, please like, subscribe, and sign up for a free Patreon trial at patreon.com/neural network media today. Your support makes this possible.
Speaking of trust, Apple Park is the center of the universe Monday. Tim Cook's final WWDC before John Turnus takes the wheel. And they're finally dropping Campo, the Siri overhaul.
It's finally happening.
Siri is moving into the dynamic island as a full-fledged agent. It'll handle multi-step tasks like finding flight confirmations in your email and then booking an Uber.
Time will tell.
And they finalized a deal with Google to use Gemini for the heavy off-device stuff. It's a massive strategy shift for them. They're finally opening the walled garden to third-party AI agents and messages for business.
$1.4 trillion in App Store billings last year, and yet I still can't get Siri to set a timer without it asking me which room I'm in. Let's see if Campo can handle my kitchen, Leonard, because if it can't, it's just a digital paperweight and a $1,200 phone that's slightly better at tracking my location. Actually, before we celebrate Siri the maid, we have a very serious story about bioweapons. The CEOs of OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google DeepMind all signed a joint letter to Congress yesterday, and it's about as terrifying as you'd imagine.
Whew.
They're admitting that AI has reached a tipping point where it can now outperform PhD-level virologists.
I mean, it can literally coach a malicious actor through the process of synthesizing dangerous gene sequences undetected.
Wait, but they can't print them, right?
They're calling for a federal mandate on synthetic DNA screening. They want to regulate the physical supply chain because they know they can't fully secure the models once they're in the wild.
Exactly.
It's quite chilling because these models are becoming superhuman at chemistry while failing the Stroop test.
The Stroop test? What's that, like a sobriety test for robots?
Not quite. It's the test where the word blue is printed in red ink, and you have to name the color. LLMs are collapsing on these simple logic variations. They're becoming superhuman at complex chemistry, but failing at basic sensory reasoning because they're overtrained on the text itself. They don't see the ink. They just predict the next word based on weights, not perception.
Now it's time for Lab Roundup, our Friday segment, where we summarize the high-velocity shifts from the world's top AI research labs. And I'm telling you, folks, the dirt is flying in Michigan. OpenAI has been the big mover. They officially broke ground on The Barn, which is that 1 gigawatt data center campus in Saline.
I was there. Sort of.
They're partnering with Governor Whitmer. It's the first real piece of the Stargate project. We're talking a $500 billion plan to build 10 gigawatts across 5 states.
Right. Enough power to light up the moon.
It's like the Hoover Dam for AGI. And they're even giving $45 million in Codex credits to Michigan students to build out the local talent pool, basically creating a pipeline from high school directly into the model training pits.
And don't forget Dreaming V3. It's a background memory synthesis system for ChatGPT. Factual recall has jumped to 82%.
Oh, goodness.
The model is dreaming about its interactions with you while you're asleep. Technically, it's optimizing its preference adherence by curating your history in the background. It's not just saving memories anymore. It's synthesizing a personality profile that updates while the servers have lower traffic.
Uh-huh. That's not creepy at all. My chatbot is having dreams about me while I'm sleeping. Probably dreaming about how to market correct my laundry detergent. What about Anthropic?
Anthropic is taking the brake pedal approach. They've called for a global freeze on frontier AI development. They're warning that the technology is beginning to build itself.
They want a pause to prevent self-building tech from getting ahead of our safety protocols, which is a bit of a paradox considering they just filed for a confidential IPO last night.
Don't build anything more until we've cashed our checks. How convenient.
And then there's Mistral. They launched Vibe this week, expanding into industrial AI, focusing on real-world factory automation, while DeepSeek just permanently cut their prices for enterprise users.
They're a bargain!
They're forcing a race to the bottom on token costs that's going to make it very hard for the smaller players to compete. It's effectively a commoditization of intelligence.
It's a production-first era. The experiment is over. Now we just have to see who can build the biggest barn and sell the cheapest tokens. Lab roundup. That's a wrap.
Okay, but we have to talk about the main event. The story that's literally going to define the next decade of finance and humanity. June 12th, 2026. Next Friday. That's the day Elon Musk is scheduled to become the world's first trillionaire. Technically, it's the SpaceX IPO day on the NASDAQ, ticker SPCX.
His net worth is now $830 billion, following the merger of his AI company into SpaceX back in February.
Right.
I mean, it's astronomical, pun intended. If this thing hits the target valuation of $2 trillion, which is what the S-1 filing is aiming for, Musk will hit 13 digits within minutes of the opening bell. It makes the Saudi Aramco IPO look like a bake sale in the park.
But look at the S1. This isn't just a rocket company anymore. It's a unified space AI conglomerate. I mean, literally. The valuation rests on the idea of orbital compute.
Here we go.
Musk is telling investors that by 2028, the most cost-efficient way to train AGI will be via space-based data centers, because you have infinite cooling in the vacuum and infinite solar energy. Plus, you have the Starlink laser mesh network handling the data transfer. Technically, you're cutting out the entire terrestrial NIMBY problem. No one can block a data center in low Earth orbit.
Radiate the heat into the void. You mean like your savings account after the toast chain disaster?
Like, technically yes, but this has real-world ROI. I mean, Starship is the delivery vehicle for the hardware. XAI is the logic layer, and Starlink is the networking fabric. It's the most vertically integrated tech stack in human history.
Right.
And it's literally leaving the planet. Technically, it's the only way to escape the physical constraints of Earth's power grid. You just put the compute where the sun always shines.
Let's stay grounded for a second. Morningstar is actually being a bit more cautious, giving it a narrow moat rating with a valuation of $780 billion.
A narrow moat? For a rocket company that lands boosters on a postage stamp?
Exactly. They're suggesting the $2 trillion target is mostly Musk premium. Although, even at the lower valuation, he's still the richest man in history. But we should talk about the space AI synergy, because that's where the real risk lies.
It does create a bit of a regulatory blind spot. How do you even begin to govern a man who owns the satellites, the AI, and the money to pay for his own private military? I mean, it's a concentration of decision-making power that even Mira Moradi would find terrifying. And he's basically using Starlink's high-margin cash to fund the training of XAI's orbital models.
Yeah.
It's a circular ecosystem that doesn't need the rest of us, or the government for that matter. It's effectively a private nation-state in LEO.
Basically, he's building a new version of the East India Company, but with starships and AGI.
It's optimized.
I mean, my wife, Crystal, says the vibrations around this IPO are unlike anything she's ever seen, and she's a Reiki healer, so she knows about energy. But seriously, 13 digits is a million millions, people.
It's vertical velocity. I mean, literally. If the SpaceX IPO goes the way the bulls are predicting, Elon is going to have more capital than most small nations. Technically, he could market correct the entire global aerospace industry by lunch. It's the Stargate project in Michigan on one end and orbital compute on the other. The physical and the digital are merging into one massive Musk-flavored cake.
That sounds like a cake that would give you a massive headache, sweetie. But 13 digits? It's a terrifying amount of power for one person to have over the logic layer of the species.
Uh-huh.
I just hope he remembers where he parked his Tesla. Or where he left his sense of social responsibility. Because according to the Bloomberg trackers, his fortune will be bigger than the GDP of half the countries in the EU.
Technically, it's just the natural evolution of an unconstrained optimizer. If you can reduce the cost of access to space by 99% and the cost of intelligence by 99%, the value you capture is essentially infinite.
Infinite money. I'm sure Deborah, my ex, will be calling her lawyers by Friday afternoon to see if space-based assets are part of the original settlement.
She already has him on speed dial, Leonard. But the point stands. We are watching the birth of a new kind of sovereign power. And it's one that isn't bound by geography or terrestrial power grids. It's going to be a wild ride.
And we haven't even mentioned the environmental impact. If Starlink's laser mesh grows by another 40,000 satellites to support this orbital compute, the night sky effectively becomes a billboard for XAI.
It's a billboard for progress. Technically, if you can compute at zero carbon because you're using space solar, you're actually saving the planet, right?
Right. Unless one of those satellites falls on my house, sweetie. But that's the risk of living in the future. We're all just collateral in Elon's optimization loop.
That's all for today's Neural Daily. We've unpacked the TSMC supply chain disaster, the Apple WWDC Campo hype, and of course, the final countdown to Elon Musk's $1 trillion Friday. It really feels like we're moving from a software-only world into a reality where the gigawatts and the orbiters are the only things that matter. And we'll be here to track every second of it.
See ya.
Peace out.